Gina.
All right.
Are you recording this? Sorry. Okay, good.
I just hit record. I hope I'm doing it right. Tony, can you do it as a backup just in case I didn't do it right? No, you can't. Okay. Hopefully it's saying it's recording, I think. So our first person is going to be Patricia. So Patricia, I've known since the 70s. She was around with Patricia and Gail, and has always been a part, we've seen for a long time, and I'm thrilled to see you. It's been way too long.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
Patricia,
you. Thank you.
Can you please
I first met Gina when my son was probably 6 months old at the Unitarian Church in Mount Kisco. And we became friends ever since then. Betty was part of the mix. We had Betty down to my mother's house in Long Island. And so I'm going to show, I don't know if you can see this, but this is a postcard from a place called Doolin in Ireland. This is a picture of beautiful Gina with my son and my daughter. Now, the reason I'm showing that postcard is because Gina somehow figured out a way to get us tickets to Ireland on a tour. I think it was probably $300 for us for everything, including meals and the tour bus. I don't know how this happened, but Gina thought it would be a good idea for us to rent a car, yours truly driving on the other side of Ireland, which I'd never done in my life. Thank God I knew how to drive a shift. We went all over Ireland. We broke down literally at night. There were no cell phones. There was nothing. A couple picked us up. This was a couple from New York who were drunk out of their minds. They drove through this Norman town, probably from the 900s. He managed to take off somebody had their door open. He managed to take off the door. Anyway, I was astounded at her level of ability to read maps and to navigate and just be extraordinary. The other time I was on a trip with Gina is I invited her, my mom and I invited her on a trip to Barbados. I don't know how long ago it was. And again, Gina and I, with Gina in the lead, we got on this bus with all these people from Barbados with live chickens and roosters and everything. And I consider myself an out there person, but she's just forging ahead like Joan of Arc. We go to the end of the island. We have a bunch of rum punches. We get back on the bus, and then we, back to our little place that we were staying at. So, and as I said, we've had Betty down to the place in Long Island. Betty was here. They were here for Christmases. They were here for Easters sometimes. Anyway, she is in my heart forever, and I feel so touched to have her in my, have had her in my life. She was a dancer, and her elegance, one of the things about Gina was her elegance and grace, but there was this mischievous side of her that was really a devil. Anyway, I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Mary Kathleen and Carrie and maybe Michael. I'm not sure. If you can just unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted.
Hey, hi, Michael.
Hey, you.
Hey,
Nice to see you.
good.
MK, did you want me to start, MK? And Mikey, then you can
Yes.
join, add on. My parents first met Gina at the UU Church, as Patsy knows, and they became fast friends and very dear friends. And the friendship lasted for as long as both parties could travel. My parents moved here to Boston, and Gina was a visitor several times. It was always a very special event when Gina came to visit. We had many special times, and it's so nice to see Greg and Tony and Pam. I've missed you guys. And for many Christmases and many family events, our families got together. There was always a special Christmas Eve party And we had some really wonderful times with your mom and your dad and you guys. And I know that, you know, you were always automatically on the guest list. That was always, it was always really important to have the Burtons and the Blumenthals with us for Christmas Eve. They shared a love of theater and family and good friends. And Gina and Kay and my mom were sort of the three musketeers. You know, Patsy was talking about Gina's mischievous streak, and I can just see them drinking wine and laughing and giggling together, and you know, going to various on various little adventures. They also shared a love of Bali, and David, I know that my parents and Gina talked a lot about Bali and their time in Bali. It was a very special time. I don't think they were ever in Bali together, but I know that they talked a lot about Bali and their time there. When I remember Gina, I think of her lovely British accent, her infectious laugh. I think everybody would probably remember Gina's laugh most of all about her. Her love of theater, and most of all, I think of Gina as having an indomitable spirit. I remember, you know, late in life, she had to have a second career. She had to have a career, and she became this tour guide, and she just kind of picked up and became like this amazing tour guide. And I remember when she had cancer, and, you know, she navigated her way through that. So I think of Gina as this just amazing spirit, sort of the unsinkable Molly Brown. And it's just a real privilege to be here and be at this memorial and have this time to think about her and remember her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to add as well. Carrie's touched on so much that I would say as well, specifically the incredible Christmases we spent with the Burton family. I have a few things that really stand out for me about Gina. The first relates to those Christmases when I was a teenager and Pam and Tony and Greg were much younger kids, and Gina and Jack were younger than my parents. So I thought they were much cooler than my parents. And I thought, you know, I would try to be like Gina. And unfortunately, I couldn't dance, but she did try to help me dance one Christmas. She was trying to teach me. It was not easy, but she was very, again, Carrie says she was indomitable. So she kept persisting. But those were just wonderful sort of childhood and young adult memories. But Gina and my mom and dad stayed friends for 50 years. And our mother passed away a couple of months ago. And as part of that whole process, we've been looking through her things. And I found a scrapbook that we had prepared when my parents were celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary in 1991. And people wrote in notes and things. And Gina wrote this lovely note. And just the beginning of it was, when I think of our friendship, I think of caring, compassion, always being there for each other, phone calls just to see how you are, laughter, joy, tears, great conversation, theater, books, and movies. And, you know, it was definitely a two-way street. That's how they felt about her. I know even, you know, far into life, their later life, when they lived up here in Boston, they'd get on the phone, they'd meet in New York, they'd meet, as Carrie said, Gina came up to Boston a few times. She met my sons then. And when I told my older son that I was going to be, you know, participating in this sort of, you know, celebration, what he said to me was, what I remember about her a lot is her laugh. So I think, as Carrie says, you know, even somebody who didn't meet her that often, really, it was just such an infectious laugh, but, you know, such an enjoyment of life was what was so important to her. And so I also just wanted to say that I was reading an article today in the New York Times about where do people who die, where do they go in our memories? And one of the things that the author was saying that how important she felt it was to honor people by doing things that they would do, or that were important to them, or that they would be proud of. And, you know, I just have to say, I'm sure Gina would be very proud of this and very happy that the three of you have organized this, not just to honor her, but just to maintain connections, because that was so important to her. So those are just my thoughts about Gina, and really glad, as Carrie said, to be here to celebrate her today.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome, Mayor and Care. There's so much love inside of me. And when I think of Gina and Kay and my mom, have the feeling of family that our families were able to build together. And your mom was such a huge part of that. The ability that she had to engage with people of all ages, stripes, creeds, colors, nationalities. Steve, when you said Maya Angelou's quote, that Gina's legacy is so vast because she touched so many lives and made a difference in every single one of them. Loved, my mom and dad lived a mile away from me in Framingham, and I was lucky enough to be the guy that got to pick Gina up on the 4 or 5 or 6 visits when she was coming up on the limo liner or the bus, on her many visits to Framingham. And you know, the smiles, the love, the gregariousness, and the incredible energy that just never seemed to stop is what I think of when I think of this woman that I love very much. And we've all experienced our share of loss more and more in the last year and couple of years. But I believe so strongly that through connections and relationships, and as we're able to keep our love alive for the people that we've lost, it allows us to keep them so close. And it's so worth it for me, and so fortunate to have her in my life and you guys as well. So thanks for putting this together and inviting us in.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Beautiful. Well, next we're going to hear from a family member. Greg is going to speak, I believe.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Hey, Greg,
Hey, you're looking good, Michael. Recognize you.
feeling good.
You're looking too young. What's going on? I want to thank everyone for coming, of course. A few quotes that I put together, a couple some short memories. If you know anything about me and my religion, I like to call it from the Book of Maury, as in Tuesdays with. The one that sort of just pops out is love is how you stay alive even after you're gone. Mom gave a lot of love, but she also got a lot of love from all of her family. And I kind of jokingly said that her legacy was her books, which I have plenty of down in my basement, still trying to go through and waiting for Tony and Pamela to come by and see what they want to do with them as well, so we could distribute that. But then when I was thinking today, I was thinking actually her greatest commodity was her love, and her love for her friends, and the love that she got back from all of her friends. So thank you again all for coming. And when I say friends, I mean family. She really, when you became her friend, you were family, and by and large, you got us along with for the ride. So you all became part of the family. Like when you marry somebody else, you become part of their family. And she brought her friends in, and I feel like all of you are part of our family. And when she was a friend for life. Just ask David from way back whenever. I have a lot of memories, a lot of family memories. But I was lucky enough to have a lot of one-on-one time with Mom. I think a little bit more so than Pam and Tony, only because of mostly geography and where I was working and when she was working. But it started off early. I mean, my early memories are, oh, There he is.
That's great.
Son, by the way. Oh, sorry. So a lot of memories of me and mom taking care of the horses before I had to go to school because dad had already gone off to teach. So spent a bit of time when we had to work on the estate. At the same time, I remember her crashing at 39 Bedford Street, an apartment that I inherited. They used to be John and David's apartment, and then it was John's apartment, and then it was my apartment, and the entire time it was mom's couch. So anytime that she needed to get up early, of course, she was more than welcome. She was there. We spent a lot of hours talking then and staying up later than we should, especially because she had to get up early. But it was very precious time that I'll never forget. It also goes for having dinner with her in the city between shows, at the Edison Hotel, maybe having soup, because we know how much she loved her Edison Hotel soup. And of course, when she made friends of her clients that she would then send to me for a backstage tour, everyone could become mom's friend. And of course I would help them out, and because it's all part of the family. Let's see. She had unconditional love all of the time. It was obvious. But I have a lot of memories of her being with her friends, and her and talking about her friends and being with you all. I remember I learned tennis from her playing at the state, I believe with David, maybe Patricia. I can't remember exactly who, but she was playing tennis with her friends, and I was the ball boy, and that's how I learned how to play tennis, was watching mom play tennis with her friends down there. Certainly, the Fab Five was a big part of her life. Anytime she talked about you guys, she had a big smile on her face. She looked forward so much to going to the Jersey Shore every summer. I think the only downfall with that is you guys always booked it sort of towards the end of August. So she always had to call me with a little guilty phone call saying, I'm away for your birthday again. But we would have a nice long conversation on my birthday when she was down there, and was so grateful that she was there and having such a great time with family. Of course, I kind of came up with this more recently, her crazy Katona friends, and I do mean that in a loving way. You guys were great. The craziness and love that you guys gave her brought out such a wonderful part of mom. With Kay and Lorraine Rossi, and it was just another group of friends that were part of her family. Of course, the gatherings at the O'Connells. I guess I don't have to go into it as detailed because you guys pulled it up, but it really was like the first family that was our family friends. And that tradition of going on Christmas Eve, that was a family tradition. And I have to counter actually what Mary Kathleen had said, that I actually thought your parents were the cool parents. So I guess it works both ways. You guys, you had the coolest parents that I could remember of any of our friends, and couldn't wait to see them again. So, and I do miss them dearly. Even did we get Robin back? I don't know. We lost her, I guess.
I didn't see her back yet.
Yeah. Dad's family took mom in as if she was blood. And the love that they have for her was tremendous. And even all of her friends from work, if you became her friend, even if it was through work, you were part of the family. I just remember her smile and her happiness when she was talking about any one of you. It was really the joy of her life. You live on in the hearts of everyone you have touched and nurtured while you were here. Death ends life, not a relationship. That was getting close to closing, but as I was going through boxes, I found this quote that she had. I'll read it. But it was just, again, it just put it in perspective. A friend is one of the nicest things you can have and one of the best things you can be. Let's see. Thank you all for being here. May her memory be a blessing to us all.
Thank you. All righty, so speaking of those crazy Katona people, Gail, do you want to speak next? You have to unmute yourself, or Tony has to unmute you. You're not unmuted. So you have to find a button to unmute. Can we unmute her, Tony?
Same thing.
Trying to figure out how to unmute. Unmute. I'm asking you to unmute. There we go.
Lower left.
No,
No, she's still muted.
you're muted. Oh, how do we get her to unmute? She has to do it, right?
No.
Hold on.
I'm saying, I'm asking her to unmute.
Lower left corner, there's a
Double
red
click, don't double
slash.
click.
Look for the red slash.
Yeah, the red slash, the lower left corner. Yeah,
That's it.
there we go. Okay, can we hear you?
We didn't hear
Oh, no, it didn't work.
her.
Oh, we can't hear Gail. Keep
Oh.
talking, Gail.
My unmute is in the top right corner. Maybe that's where hers is.
Okay, I'm trying to.
Also, her computer volume might be down. So that's.
Can you turn your computer volume up? Maybe?
That's to join with audio.
There it goes.
There it
Now
is.
we hear you.
Okay.
Now we hear you.
I don't hear her.
Oh, I heard her for a sec. Oh. Jeez. Here, I'll keep trying to talk. I think you have to hit that button that says with audio. It doesn't have the red button though. So it's something on her computer. It's something on your computer, Gail. Tony,
How about if she just holds down the space bar
hold down the space bar
and talk?
and talk.
She's unmuted. It's just, I think it's just a volume issue.
All right. So we think it's,
She's muted again.
oh, now you're muted again. Oh, no. Can we come back to you? Can you keep playing with it? Yeah, see if you can bring
Lower
your
left.
volume up and.
Wait. Hold on. Can you talk, Gail?
It's her volume.
It's your volume somehow. I think she's gonna go
She's
get
gonna
help.
check something.
She's
Okay.
gonna go get Stash to help. All
Okay.
right.
Or try to log back in. You know, if we try and readmit you, it might work.
Okay. So in the meantime, let's see, who do I have? Can we go to the Fab Five and Net? Would you go next?
I would love to. I was going to give an explanation of the Fab Five, and I thought anyone who was a friend of Gina's knew about the Fab Five because she loved to broadcast the love and the wonder of the group, for sure. My favorite memory always will be, we celebrated birthdays, everyone's birthday, and it was our dear friend Karen's birthday in September. And we decided Gina was going to play tour guide and take us on an excursion through Central Park. And we were seeing some of her favorite spots, including the English Garden that she loves so much. After we had walked for a while, we were a little tired and she found a bench for us. And Mary Poppins appeared. Gina had a big satchel and she took out of the satchel individual bags of snacks, sliced apples and nuts. I have to tell you, I felt like a child who was being nourished by a loving adult. I will never forget that experience. It was wonderful. There were lots of others, but that's my treasured one, and that's all I'll talk about.
Beautiful. Thank you. On that theme, why don't we go to Lorraine? Is she available?
Yep.
There we go.
Okay, well, I'll tell you,
That one.
given how old I am, I figured out that I think I knew Gina about 50 years.
Might be.
And I
If
could
it
have met
doesn't work,
Wait.
I just want to see if you can hear me.
We gotta mute you guys. I'm just gonna mute Gail. Where is that mute, but where's Gail? I'm trying to figure out how to mute. Where's Gail?
She is muted now.
Okay, all right, go ahead. I'm sorry, Annette, can you keep
Well,
going?
Lorraine.
Oh, Lorraine, I'm sorry, Lorraine.
Well, I mean, I wanted to go to work for Fred, for Arthur Murray's in Albany, and my husband said I couldn't possibly do that. And I learned later Gina came down there from Canada. We could have met there, who knows? And I can hardly even remember between Landmark and the Fab Five in Long Beach Island and dancing at Fred Astaire. I couldn't pick out a particular thing. But Tony named us the Fab Five.
Oh, wait, Jeff, Gail, you're unmuted again.
following me. Okay, you're bothering them when you
It's coming up on the screen.
Okay, so don't bother her. She's talking now.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you, we've got to unmute. Can you guys mute it? Here, I'll mute. How do I mute Gail?
Okay, so the year that Gina and just before you wrote, Pam, I was going through old cards, and here's Gina with this beautiful handwriting. I've got cards for every possible thing. She knew my grandchildren very well also. So like Tony and Eric and Pam say, we were all just a big family. And she was like, my sisters, I had two sisters, but Gina did not. So she always said she felt like we were her sisters. And one thing, she did not like to cook very much. So at the shore, she was great at scrambled eggs though. And she made great scrambled eggs. And she said, so she took on the job of cleaning up the kitchen, doing all the dishes, which we happily gave her to do because we all like to cook.
No.
So that's how that went. I do have a picture here though I want to show you. This is us at the shore. I don't know if you can see it.
If you can tilt, there we go. If there's a glare, if you can kind of.
But she is smiling there, of course. And we all look pretty good still. But and she loved to read, I know, always with a big hat on the beach, reading and reading and reading, or walking. And one thing she did that drove us all crazy, she'd leave her shoes out where we could trip over them. So we would always say, Gina, you've got to get your shoes under the chair or something. But I think we're now down to just Annette and me, kind of the duo, but we have Barbara when we can online or something. So we're now called, what is it, Annette? The Terrific Trio, I think, something like that. But we did have a lot of fun, the five of us. And every single year, we were at the shore for 35 years, I would say. Every summer, my daughter's house, we would rent. And every year, we learned something about one of us that we didn't know. Somebody who had been in Missouri or somebody who had done something else. It was just amazing. And I remember the McConnells myself. So I think I've met everybody in your family at some point or other, including your dad's family in Buffalo, was it? I think.
My sister.
Yeah, your sister. Yeah, your sister. So I remember, I miss Gina. I do. I cry a lot at this age. So I don't think there's any more I can say. We did dance quite a bit together, and I continued to do that until last February when the pandemic hit. So that's, I always think of Gina.
Thank you. So let's see if we can get Gail to work. It seems like they've gotten it to work. Gail, do you want to try talking? You want to unmute yourself? Your assistant went away.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
Just click it once.
Single click. Just
You're
one single
muted.
click.
One click.
Hit the mute button once.
There.
There we go.
Oh.
Now it should work.
Okay. Am
Yay!
I, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know why it keeps going off. Anyway, it's so nice to see everybody. Honestly, it's amazing. It's well, I didn't think I would get uh verklempt, but yeah, I see Tony, and Tony's feeling a little verklempt. Everybody, a little bit. Anyway, I want to say so many things. It's so nice to see Pat, and I wanted to talk some. We were, yeah, she had so many groups, Fab Five, and the O'Connell girls talked about another group of three, and that's Gina. But she brought us all together too. But Pat and Lorraine and Gina and I would go on vacations together sometimes. I know that the Fab Five, you went a lot and many times. It seems like every single August she was gone. But we called ourselves the Northern Westchester Feminist Mafia. And that's because when that all started when we went once to a custody hearing for Pat and her daughter Nancy. And we all sat on the stand and declared, you would have thought that Nancy was Mother Teresa incarnate, because we wanted to make sure that Pat got the kind of custody she wanted. Remember Pat? Anyway, so then we started calling ourselves the Northern Westchester Feminist Mafia, and each one of us had one thing that we claimed made us the most neurotic. And with Pat, it was the nuns, and with Doreen, it was the tyrannical father, and with me, it was my controlling mother, and with Gina, it was World War II and the Blitz. And the bomb, you know, those bombs falling on your house can be a bit annoying. So we gave her that. And she would often talk about, not tons, but sometimes she would refer to the fact that her mother enrolled her in the Royal Ballet School of Dance because she wanted to help her keep her mind off the war and from worrying so much. And I think it was Pat who said, yeah, well, that didn't work. And so we would kid each other about our little, about our neuroses. But one time when Gina and I went to Florida, because my parents were snowbirds and they were there and they were about to go home. And we thought, well, let's get a trip into Florida in really quick. And we did go down. And she had never met my mother before. And one of the things I wanted to say was that Gina so much helped validate my understanding of myself. And yet, you know, you always doubt, am I understanding, you know, you a little bit self-doubt. And so we were there, and one morning my mother knocked on the door and she said, she was waking us up, and she said, breakfast will be ready in 6.5 minutes. And Gina woke up and started laughing. And I said, what are you laughing about? She said, 6, not 6, not 7, but 6.5. And I never realized before that that wasn't normal. And then later, probably the same day, we wanted to go to the beach and we had to borrow the car, their car. And as my mother would do, she would have us do a lot of errands to earn the right to have the car. And it was a little bit annoying. And so when we finally got in the car to go to the beach, I turned to her and I kind of apologized. And I said, you know, that's my controlling mother. And what Gina, I will never forget what she said. She turned to me and she said, your mother is the most controlling person I've ever met in my life. And I thought she was just being kind. And I said to me, and I said, are you serious? And she said, oh, I am deadly serious. And so I said, how does she compare to World War II? And she said, she doesn't, the World War II is not in the running. So it helped to validate my understanding of myself so well, because I felt Gina was so honest about things. She would not have said things that weren't true. And the other thing I wanted to really start out with, instead of making it about me, was just, I think I did just now, but she, I think we can all attest to the fact how much she loved her children, all of her children. And one of the, I thought, well, I wanted to say that, but I wanted to have something as sort of a hook to validating that. And she would never say just Pam. It was always my beautiful daughter or my beautiful daughter, Pam. And I mean, I don't ever remember her ever referring to Pam without first saying my beautiful Pam or my beautiful daughter, ever. And one time, she got me into tour guiding, and that was so many fun things. But I remember, here's what will validate how she loved her children. You remember Sam? She would talk about Sam, the bus driver that drove her crazy because he was ancient. He was way into his late 80s, and we all are now. But he would literally fall asleep in the lights. But anyway, he and Gina did a lot of work. She drove her bus a lot. And sometimes he would drive when I was there. And so at the end of the day, so if I was on his bus, he would take me near the train station, and he would take Lena near the train station. And he knew we were dear friends. And he said, when Gina goes, she said, I never take her all the way to the train station because she always wants to get out and go to either Job Lots or Saks, one or the other. Because if Saks was having a sale, she would go, and she was always wanting to buy her kids something. There was always a birthday or a special occasion, and she always wanted to go shopping for her kids. And I know he's right because I've shopped, and especially Job Lots, and they introduced me to Job Lots, and she would say, oh, Tony would like this, oh, Greg would like this, or Pam would like this. And it was always, she would walk out with a big bag of things, always for the kids. And I thought you might enjoy that story. You probably know your end of it. And yeah.
Thank you, Gail.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to my husband.
Hold on, sorry. One
Just
second. I need a quick sidebar with Gail.
Gail was not talking about this Lorraine, by the way. I did not have a tyrannical father. She was talking about.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Lorraine Rossi.
I knew you weren't. I just wanted to clear that up.
Oh, I see. Yeah, for clarification. Yeah.
Okay. And Gail, I just want a quick sidebar at our house. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Here's your painting.
Her painting.
Oh my.
Come on.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Dominant place in the house. So
That was in our Laurelton Road house.
Yep.
And then it was in her apartment. And then it was, it's traveled with Mom. It's a beautiful green and yellow picture of flowers, and it's beautiful. And Greg got lucky enough to get it and have it in his home now.
Oh, well, I'll have to find another painting for the other two.
Okay, I'll take one. That'd be great. All right, so Steve, you want to go?
Okay, yeah, sure. So the family has heard me tell the story of getting engaged to Pamela. So I picked up the ring, and on the way to asking Pamela, I called Gina. And luckily Jack never found that out. I called Gina, and we were like two giddy teenagers, nervous and sort of staging this whole thing. And then I had to make sure that Gina wasn't going to get on the phone or let it go to voicemail, right? So that was very, very special. And the other thing I wanted to share, Gina would get on the bus and come visit us in Northern Virginia, just outside of DC. And those, what was really, really special to me about those visits is I would come home from my commute into Georgetown, which is kind of a long, frenzied nightmare. And Gina and Pamela would be there. And I'd say, Gina, would you like some wine and cheese? And she'd say, oh, that would be lovely, right? And it would cause me to just slow it all down, right? Normally I'm checking boxes and, you know, talking about the commute and the traffic and all. And we just sort of kick back with a glass of wine and some cheese. And then our favorite topics of conversation, it's a little embarrassing now, we answer questions about the royal family all the time, as though everyone from the UK is tight with the royal family, right? And could answer our questions, but she did. And then I would ask her about various British expressions. And my favorite one day was, I said, Gina, do they really say things like, will you have a spot of tea, governor? And all the life drained out of her face. She said, oh, Steve, that's very low class. We don't talk like that. I'm sorry. You know, will you have a cup of tea, love? Love. And I have not forgotten that. I don't call my wife governor either. Anyway, that's my share.
And we would have fun learning the different phrases. Like one of the phrases I remember mom saying when I was young was, go dress the bed or go put clothes on the bed. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, so she would say all these funny phrases, you know, but love was definitely one of, you know, if you all can think of any phrases, that would be fun to hear them. But I might as well go since you just went. So, of course, there's a million stories I could say, but the one where I want to focus in is dance with mom. So obviously my love of dance, you know, came from my mom, and she took me to she was my first ballet teacher, and then took me to classes, and sometimes dad took me to classes, and I'd go to the ballet with her. And and then when I moved to DC, one of my favorite things that we did is she would come to visit and stay with me. This is when I was single. And we would go to the ballroom studio on Friday night. And all the men would come over and ask me to dance because I was young comparatively, you know, compared to a lot of the other ladies that were there. So they'd come and ask me to dance, but they'd say, why are you here? Or we haven't seen you before. And I said, well, my mom's here and she loves to dance and she's really good. And they would then, after my dance, go dance with her, and she would dance, and then they kept dancing with her over and over again because she was such a beautiful follower, and they were like, oh my God, who is this woman? You know, you wouldn't expect her to be, you know, a national advanced level dancer, world champion, junior world champion. So it was really fun going dancing with her. And then when you know, I used to go visit her, you know, in New York, and we would have our visits, and sometimes she'd come here, and I love watching her with Steve. They were very funny together. He got to do all kinds of crazy things, like wear crazy hats. So if you see photos with crazy hats, that's my husband's mischievous side that she would enjoy. But after I think everybody knows on this call, I got brain cancer. I could relate to my mom in a new way, you know, because some of the challenges I have, she had in a different way, you know, but it had me have this new connection to her. So when I went to visit her, we would, you know, just be with each other. And then what I remember is my first visit after my surgery and after mom had moved she had moved into the memory care unit, which meant that her cognitive had gone downhill. And I was a little nervous about going to that visit. And my friend Barb was with me, thankfully. And we went in. I had gotten a radio, me and my brothers, for Christmas that had all this Broadway music and different music that she knew. So she and I started doing chair dancing to the music. And she, you know, the body doesn't forget. You know, they say the music is the last thing that they lose. So we would do chair dancing, and one video I love, she's doing her ballet hands. You know, we would do ballet hands, and she would follow me gracefully, and it was very sweet. And I have those videos. I'm going to make a combo video one day, and I'll send it out to you guys. But they're very sweet little moments of connection. And there'll be times that she would say things, I didn't know how much she was getting at times. But like one time after my surgery, I got this really cool haircut because they had shaved the side of my head. Like I had this short haircut on the side. And I said, and she would always comment about my hair, if she liked it or not. And I said, Mom, I bet you don't like this haircut. And she said something like, it's a New York City haircut. And I was shocked that she could say that, because it was very cool. I like, one of the coolest haircuts I had, it was like shaved part on the side. Anyway, so that was funny. So that day, that visit, Barb and I took Mom outside to the patio, and we brought the iPads, we had some music, and we started swaying back and forth. And I said, Mom, you like this? And she says, it's quite lovely. And I have this on video, so this is really, and so we were just swaying. And then I said, you want to walk? And she said, yes. And so she's saying walk, and I'm trying to walk forward. And I'm saying, take a step back. And she's insisting I eventually get it. She wants me to take a step backwards because she's going to lead because she's the teacher. And so then she goes, walk, walk, side together, which is a foxtrot. So we started doing a walk, walk, side together. And she's saying it the whole time. It just was, so endearing that this was the first thing that she was really communicating with me. And then we started to swing dance. And I, not being as conscious as I should have been about things, took too big of a step back. So it threw her off her balance. And then she adjusted. So then when I watched the video, then her next step was 1, 2, and then she did a small one so she wasn't going to get knocked off. Like it was just amazing how much the body can adjust. So whenever I went to visit her, we would dance, and I loved those dance. It just really felt so connected. And sometimes she would talk, and sometimes I didn't understand what she was trying to say. But we had it was just a very sweet, precious time. So thanks to dance, thanks to music. I love those times with my mom, and I miss her. But I'm so grateful that she left when she did, and before the virus, just before the virus, and appropriately on Valentine's Day, where she took, but so I think that's what I wanted to say about dancing on. I could share a lot of stories, but I'm going to limit my time. So thank you. So next, Estelle raised her hand first.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Estelle. Can you tell them how you know Mom?
So I'm a writer. So I wrote a story about my friend Gina. So we met in 2008 on a wait list line at, of all places, the Jacob Burns Film Theater. We were numbers 1 and 2 for a sold out show to see John Pizzarelli. And we both got in and we sat together. And afterwards, we went round the corner for a cup of tea, love. My maternal grandmother migrated from London to the States with my mom in 1907. So Gina's British accent was like coming home. We became movie buddies, and we often met to take in a film together at the Burns. We clicked on many levels. We had much to talk about. My sons, my grandsons, my one granddaughter. Gina talked about her sons, her one daughter, and her grandsons, Connor and Ryan, and later, baby Jacob. I'm a city kid, born and raised in a retired New York City businesswoman. Gina loved the city, as we all know. At the time we met, she was a New York City tour guide, and I was amazed at her waking up at 3 a.m. to make a 5 a.m. train from Pleasantville so she could meet a group arriving 8 a.m. at the bus station or the cruise ship. It meant nothing for her to walk across town. We all know that, right? She walked through Central Park at 72nd Street while regaling visitors about the city sights. and she walked everywhere in the city while meeting and greeting visitors and treating them as though they were guests in her home. We were only a few years apart in age, so we had years and eras in common. There was not one topic that was off limits. We were both divorced after long marriages. There were the times we traded advice and consolation and carried on uplifted by each other. It's hard for me to read and remember, but I'm so grateful to be able to. Of course, we had charismatic conversations and gossiped about the Hollywood movie stars. Gina knew all their stories. And she told me that Robert Redford had a bad face job at one time. And that was why his face was so wrinkled and badly aged. I didn't know that. Gina lived in a cottage in Chappaqua. I lived in a cottage in Pleasantville. We both loved cats. I did and continue to volunteer and take writing classes at the Jacob Burns. So we had a mutual friend in Elizabeth, Gina's neighbor. Hi, Elizabeth. And Elizabeth is membership chairperson at the Burns. Gina invited me as her guest, and we went to see Alan Cummings in Cabaret at Studio 54 Theater. And Gina's son, Gregory, graciously gave my two eldest grandsons and my granddaughter a backstage tour when he was working at Jersey Boys. They were absolutely thrilled about the experience. Gregory's place in Rosendale, his dancing wife, and the new baby were sparkling conversations. And though I never got to meet Tony, I could tell you about his showbiz agent career, his lovely wife, and his children, Connor and Ryan, and how Gina was so thrilled and excited to see their school performances and their sports events. And she always told me how talented and how special they all were. There were times when we did parallel travel, as she was visiting Pamela in Virginia, and I was visiting my son Gregory in Maryland. When Pamela moved to North Carolina, she booked her flights immediately and looked forward to going down south to visit with her. After a time, when Gina moved to from Chappaqua to Pleasantville, I could see Gina start to, I will say, slow down. And of course, she told me of her health and medical condition. On our movie dates, I would pick her up at her apartment, and after, I would drop her off at her door. We took this picture together the day Gina moved from Pleasantville to Bethel. Can you see it?
Yes.
That was May 29th, 2017. I have so missed connecting with Gina these last few years, and now I miss her even more. We talked about her wonderful dancing experience that showed up in her evident poise and graceful carriage, and her warmth and her elegance. And our British roots shined a special light on my life. She was my kind of gal. We both never felt old or outdated. She was not replaceable, and I was lucky to have known her. In Judaism, when someone passes away, we say, may her memory be for a blessing. My memories of Gina will always be a blessing. Amen. Thank you.
I will just say that Mom met Estelle late in life, but she used to say it was like a sister, somebody that she could totally be gotten by, and she just adored the friendship. And she was always, she shared about everybody, but later in life she met Estelle, and Sue, and she would talk about both of you. And so thank you for that beautiful share. So next I was thinking would be the friend who knew Gina the longest by far. That would be David Doyle, if he can unmute himself.
Can you hear? Can you hear me? You know, this is an amazing gathering because so many of you people are people that I have heard about for many, many years, but never met because you were there and I was here and never the twain did meet until today. And of course, there's always Gail, and Gail is still Gail. And it's nice to know that some things never change.
The Fabulous Five, she always
And the Fab Five, I knew some of the Fab Five, yeah. But you know, as you talk about your friendships with Gina, and what you know, what an impact she made in your lives, I just am even more grateful that I'm able to say she was my best friend. And she was that kind of person that she was also a friend to all of you as well.
Okay. Maybe I will interrupt. I was amazed when we visited her second time on the nursing home. So we seated on the, it's 2 o'clock, so it's their TV time. And then I was amazed when she said to everybody, she said that, do you know him? He's my best friend. His name David Doyle. I almost cried.
Yeah. That was 2017, and she was back and forth. She wasn't always where you wanted her to be, but she could be there some of the time. And I just want to say, we came back to live in America in 2016. We came east to see Gina and the family in October of 2016. She had already downsized to that little efficiency in Pleasantville, and she already had to have someone sleep at night and help her. She was clearly failing. And that was 2016. The year before, 2015, she had come to Bali. Ram and I went to the airport to pick her up. She thought she was going down to the Chappaqua train station to pick me up. So that's how of course, Bali from New York is a 24-hour trip, and that can be disorienting for anybody. But the 3 weeks that she spent with us in Bali that year, she had some mental issues, and she wasn't fully the person that I had always known her to be. Okay. Now, we jump across 2014 because for one reason or another, I didn't go to New York and she didn't come to Bali. So we're in 2013. And what I want to say is that during my stay with her in New York that time, we wanted to go see Gats. Gats was a 6-hour reading of The Great Gatsby. Every word was read and acted on stage. It was at the Public Theater, it was a very theatrical, a real highlight of our 60 years of theater going together. But you know, this was 2013. Do the math. We weren't particularly young people at that point. The play began at 5 o'clock. there was a break halfway through. We went across the street to a restaurant and had a nice meal before we went back for the second half. Gina always, regardless of whether it was the ballet or the theater she loved to have a good meal to go along with it. With me, the salad bar was fine, or the pizza slice was fine, but she really liked to sit down and have really soup to nuts kind of meal. So The Great Gatsby let out at 1 a.m. We had to get up to Grand Central then and get on the next train up to Chappaqua. And I was leaving early that same morning from the Westchester Airport to fly out to Missouri. So we had only had a couple of hours sleep. And she was going to drive me to the Westchester Airport. And we drove out of her drive onto H Cross Road, and she turned left toward Mount Kisco rather than right toward the Westchester County Airport. And I knew, because she had done it before in other years, and I didn't say anything for a while. We drove along, and then I said, Gina, are we headed toward the airport? And she didn't say anything, but she turned the car around and went the other direction toward the airport. And she says, you see, I'm not the person I used to be. And we had this relationship for many, many years where we wouldn't see each other, and then we would see each other. But every time we did see each other, it was like we had never been apart at all. She was that kind of friend. And I'm happy to share this time together with you because she was that kind of friend to you as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tony, you want to go? I don't think, is there anybody else who, I don't think Barbara was going to speak. I know her husband's on with her too, but if there's anybody else does anybody else feel like they need to say something else before we go to Tony? Raise your hand if you have anything else. Okay, we're good. Tony.
All right, thanks, Pam. Well, I really want to thank all of you for being here. It's from all different chapters of her life. The memories you're sharing are so special and are so meaningful to me. So I really want to thank you for all of that. It's great to hear. It's great to laugh about all of Mom's fun and joy of life and her idiosyncrasies. And David, she was a terrible driver even in the best of days. So don't take it personally. Annette and Lorraine, I sort of feel like this is a perfect time to share with you that the Fab Five, although Mom thought I gave you guys this name, I gave you the moniker, you were really named after the University of Michigan's 1991 All African American freshman basketball team. That's where the Fab Five came from 1991. I took that and I labeled it with you guys. Mom thought I was genius for calling you guys the Fab Five. So really you embody the African-American freshman team from Michigan, and you should carry that forward with great joy and pride. That's who you were named after. I'm not going to belabor with all the stories. I don't know if I could top any of them, but it's so wonderful seeing all of you. I feel like Gail and the O'Connells and Patsy and everyone here, I feel like I saw you yesterday. And the best part of this tragic, sad situation of Mom passing is being able to reconnect with all of you. So I really do appreciate that. And I love all of you. So I thought I would just share a poem that helps comfort me. Well, comforted me when reading this. It's written by a priest who's from England, coincidentally. So it's just one of those things, death is a terrible thing, but this sort of helps to make it a little better. So the poem goes like this. It says, death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And all the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched and unchanged. Whatever we were, we to each other, that we are still. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way in which you always used to. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed, as the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, and pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without any effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that we have ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There's absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. So all is well. Nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to try and share my screen and show a little video. This is a video of Mom when she first went to rehab, and shortly after that she went into assisted living. But let me see if I can share screen, and oh, video player. There we go. Want to do that. And those are in the way. How do I get that up there? Sorry. Trying to get it to where I can't see the play. Let's see if we can hit that. Oh boy. Okay. Maybe I'm gonna, sorry. Oh, might not be able to do it. Let's see. I had it right down here.
See the play button, Pam? It's there.
Where?
Nope, down here. Oop,
Nope.
there.
Are you a bush
No,
and
it gets there.
a bush and a peck and a hug around the
Oh, I can't see her. How do I do that? Let me see. I'm trying. No, it didn't work. I had it right here. It's right here. And
Gail, is your IT person handy?
let's see if I don't get it.
Again, Pamela.
hug around the
Do it
neck.
again.
I'm trying to, where are we? Where's the video?
And a
Click
pocket
Click the
about you.
One sec, I'm sorry.
About you.
Oh, I don't even know how to stop it.
Close it.
I love you.
Well, you can hear her.
And peck. You bet your pretty neck I do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Bye now. Bye.
I will send you that video so you can see it. I'm sorry, I'm being technically challenged here today, but I'll just send it out to everybody and you can look at it in person when you have time. Sorry about that. So, all right.
Take the
All
sharing
right.
off so we can all get back together again.
I'm trying to, let's see, stop share. There we go.
There you are. There you are.
Okay.
Very good. So, wow, thanks a million. And if you still have your drink nearby, I'm just going to read a short poem, and once again, we'll raise that glass. This is a poem called Goodbye by Angela Williams. It says, in our minds, we always knew this time would come to pass, but knowing it and living it has come and gone so fast. Goodbyes are often hard to say. They hurt so very much. Though you're not gone, you still remain in the minds and hearts and lives you touched. You're not gone, Gina. you still remain in the minds and hearts and the lives you touched. A love to you all and to Gina.
Cheers, raising to Gina's legacy.
The Gina's legacy.
Michael, don't drink and drive.
I'm not, I promise. Or I'll toast her with my coffee.
Nice. Cheers.
Thank you so much for being here and joining this. This was more than I could ever have hoped for. And it's so beautiful to hear your stories. I sure hope I did recording right so I can watch it again. But even if not, this will live in my heart. And this was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Much love to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Tony,
Bye.
thanks for sharing that poem, man. That has gotten me through some very dark days.
Yeah.
It's what it's about. We keep the love alive, and they're right with us.
I love you, Michael. That's what we're doing. Thank you so much for everyone.
And I wanted to say thank you, Barbara, for being on the call. I know it's a little bit of a challenge, and just grateful that you could be part of the group. Thank you. And wish you well.
Yeah. We would have loved to see her.
That's great.
All righty.
Thank you.
Take care, all.
Bye, Michael.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much for doing this. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Kathleen. So glad to have you here. Thanks.